Evening, everybody. This is Dr. Rao coming to you a little late today. Uh, I was writing on this topic for a while now. Uh, this is something we all hear for a long time. Live simply and think highly. Okay, and that was there for a long time in my vocabulary also, ever since high school, right? So I heard this saying while I was in high school: simple living and high thinking. So there was a lot of people doing that at the time. This was more about human beings should not be craved to all the temptations, and they should be living simply outwardly, and then inwardly they should be thinking deeper, right? Uh, the relevance is, as I was training the doctors for the burnout, this theme come out because if you look at their life, they have very complicated our life, like the clinic, hospital, all the activities related to their profession, but also with their family, with their money, and with uh, their vacations, and all the law problems, so many problems, right? So outwardly, very complicated life. They cannot spend the time as they want, and they cannot take off as they want. So kind of a bound to a routine that is really making them unhappy. So one day I put to somebody, why can't you simplify your external life and then go deeper in the inward thinking, you know? And a lot of people were very interested in that, So uh, let's see, somebody wants to come up on the wisdom app. I'll be happy to talk to them. Is this? Oh, hi, John.
How you doing, Doctor?
I'm very good. How are you?
Doing really well, thanks for asking. I can't complain. I'm very blessed and feel grateful
Very good.
for the life I have. Yeah, all is well.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, is it all right if I ask you a general question, about this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when I did a few shows on this app, and I've come back, and it seems like there's been a mass exodus. Like, there's not a whole lot of people on the app, there's not a whole lot of followers, and it seems like it's not what it used to be. Is that your experience, or do you know anything about that?
Yeah, you see, this is part of several things I stream at the same time. So uh, very few people really come up like they used to do. I thought maybe my topics are dry for them, or they don't want to go deeper. So I'm happy on the clubhouse, and people that come up on the wisdom have gone down. That I have noticed that. And then I also open on the LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter at the same time. So this is one of the apps that I do, and lots of times Clubhouse people come and then they talk a lot. But there is something going on with the Clubhouse with the iOS 17. They're having problems with the live room, so I was not open there today. But generally, what happened with wisdom was I did notice a lot of old people, old friends that I had, they are not there anymore. So I'm not seeing them doing the rooms, or, I'm not seeing them. Basically, I don't know.
I didn't know whether another I went on Clubhouse, and that seems to completely have changed too. So
yeah, they have changed the structure and all that, and they've got these houses and all that. Uh, Well, very few people are interested in.
Definitely different. Definitely different.
Yeah, it looks like it. But I think it's not us, it is the app. Probably. They're trying to improve there, but then what is that going on is they kind of put this monetization, and then everybody talking about how to sell things and all that. I think people are walking off from that atmosphere, probably, maybe. That's what's happening, because when you invite people to come and let's discuss the issues of life, let's go deeper, let's learn, I think there is a hesitancy that I see, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. You know, it takes courage and it takes something
Yeah,
to peel the onion back. You know,
yeah,
to take a look. And
yeah,
my experience over time is lots of people run screaming from it. And I noticed in my experience when I would do talks,
yeah,
I got some people that were willing to be kind of self-disclosing or talk about what might be important, and
yeah,
they were few and far between, I would say.
yeah. One thing happened in the house, many people became very argumentative, quarreling and complaining, that kind of, using bad language and all that. That's why they kind of went from the rooms to houses, in the hope that the people who are want to talk about the same things will gather, and then there will be much more quality communication. That was their aim. So in the houses, people are not able to find the rooms and not able to attend them. So I don't know how they are going to solve that now. That's what is happening there.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I went on there looking to see what people were talking about,
Yeah,
and you know, I couldn't find anything. I didn't get it.
yeah, yeah. It is very difficult now because it is a hallway. You can find everybody there, but now you can talk and you can leave message. But I think who is going to respond? I don't know. But the wisdom app also, it was more like uh, they are making us answer questions and everything. So people are communicating that way, but they're conducting the regular rooms. I do see up to 20, 30 people sometimes in the audience, but many of them want to listen. They don't want to come up and discuss. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe I thought maybe it is me that they don't want to come and talk because maybe I'm intimidating them, or I'm kind of out of the the topics that I take up may not be interesting for them. But
Yeah.
I just come and share because every day 1 hour I spare for this in the evening, and either on the Clubhouse or Wisdom or on the other channels, somebody will communicate with me and take the discussion further. That's enough for me. So I mean well. I want to share things. I want to lessen suffering, both as a physician, as a yoga practitioner, all that. So I'm not here to rub anything on anybody, but just tell them some of the things I see, how we can avoid that kind of suffering and all that. You know what I mean, John?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember talking to you a couple times back when I was doing shows, and I always found you, looking to talk about what's worked and be informative.
Yeah.
So, what's your topic for today? While I'm still here, I'll talk to you about whatever it is you want to talk about.
Yeah, I'm talking about having a simple outward life and a rich inner thinking inside. That way we are not really caught up with all the temporary, all the trivial things, but really have a good philosophical background, good moral compass, and also a purpose in life, that kind of thing. You see, when I was training these physicians for the burnout, lots of times they told me how complicated their external life is. Sometimes they don't even have time to take care of themselves. So I always talk to them about how about simplifying your external life and sitting and reflecting and meditating and all these good things that you can do as a human being. And they got around to that after a while, and then they liked that. Then they became more simple, more closer to the nature, and then sitting and meditating, reflecting, and all that.
Yeah, that's all very helpful. I feel like my life, there's a lot of moving pieces, and there's also a real simplicity to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of my efforts are to get closer to God or Spirit or love, and to move away from what I know isn't helpful in substances and in behaviors, and I try to create communities of real loving souls to take this journey with me.
Yeah, yeah. See, my aim is mainly turn inward and be in the present, and you discover joy and pleasure within you. Not pleasure, joy and happiness within you. And then for that, you need to simplify your life externally. Don't get caught in so many things that you cannot get rid of them. See, I see a lot of people with addictions, with habits, and with destructive relationships and all. Instead, have a living in the present, being in touch with the nature, and being humane to other people. All those things I think we are trying to forget in this technology rush, and that's why I bring them to come on, be simple. Even in technology also, I use them, but I use it in a simplified way. I don't want it to be dictating to me. I want it to be a tool for me. That's all. you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Why do you think it's so hard? Why is it so
Yeah, I
hard
think
for
people
people
are
to
not
be so
aware.
reflective and take their medicine, so to
Yeah,
speak?
they are not aware because they let the life go on, and then they become the habits, and they cannot get rid of them because they have developed the mental habits or neurological pathways. They act even before they think. They act even before they are aware. Suppose they are aware that they are not in touch with the nature, then they may be paying more attention to the sunsets, the sunrise, and the wind, and the beautiful flowers and trees and all that. There is so much abundance around us. If you just take that particular aspect, there is so much abundance. No, everything is free. You just have to be aware of it, and you can be in touch with the nature, and your life will be rich for the day. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
lack of
Do you
awareness.
think it's a crisis? Do you think we're heading
Oh yeah.
for a crisis
We,
of unconsciousness?
yeah, we are past behind the crisis. We are in the middle of the real, real problems now. We are facing the weather crisis. We are facing the human battles. We are facing the relationship failures. So many things going on. But even all this, you are a human being. So that means you have this capacity to look inside, and then really develop that inner capacity to be calm, to be joyful, to be happy, to be forgiving. All those things are there. Uh, of course, we have messed up with the nature. Hopefully, we will come out of it, but it is like they still want to dig up all these fossil fuels and then do all the complicated life. So my thing is, if you are simple outward and then you don't consume much, you are helping the earth. So turn inside and find the joy and happiness within. That's what I was talking, John.
Yeah, I agree with you. Simple, keep it simple.
Yeah.
And one day at a time. Those are all slogans from 12-step programs. I think that it's it's an uphill battle in some ways. We have so much dysfunction, and we have so much unhealthy ways. We're so off the mark in so many ways that I hope that it becomes so obvious and so apparent that we need to do something else.
Yeah.
That enough people get sick and tired of being sick and tired and start to circle back. I would say that I think it's going to be really hard in some ways for all of us. This guy Richard Rohr, who I read his daily meditations, he talks about order, disorder, reorder, and back to order. And for me, it's this cycle. Yeah. And I've also worked with a lot of people in substances, and I know that the disorder can be significant. And for some people, they never pull the stick back and right the plane. They never find spirituality, or they never find God, or like a connection to source. Yeah. And I just don't know what it's going to take for us as a group to find that place where we're sick and tired of being sick and tired of being, and we look to do something different.
You know what happened, John? I looked at the ancient cultures, ancient civilizations. What they said was, if you turn inward, not with your thinking, not with your senses, but intuitively feel, then you will be living in the present moment, and you discover this joy just being a human being. It is there. But then we are so occupied with so many things, then we don't have even pause for a moment and turn inward. You know, and then once you discover that abundance within us, then you don't need that much outward pleasure and all that. Even if you enjoy something, you cannot let it go. That's the problem. You want to hold on to it, right? So being turning inward was a big deal for me. And then I was talking to people all the time. Turn inward, look inside what is happening, slow down your thinking, then you will see a lot more. My meditation is a state of awareness. It's not like I have to sit down and meditate, because our real nature doesn't have to think. It is there. It is the life energy or the consciousness that's there. But it's our mind that goes all over that requires meditation to calm it down. So I do understand what the ages are talking about. Your true nature is not your body or mind, but they are instrumental for your true nature. So go and touch that, then you'll be quiet and you'll be in serenity, in the peace itself.
That would be nice, the peace that passes all understanding.
Exactly.
I feel like, my personal growth and development, and, lately it's been really hard for me. I think, we're all tested and we have really the dark night of the soul. I know I've been through some really difficult stuff, and, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and it's, really, really, really hard. And to get through that, it took like a community of loving souls with me to move through it. And I think we need more lovers and lovers of life, and people who are aligned with the truth, and connected to something greater, and get people who get their marching orders from that inward light, that inward guide. And it's the test is pretty easy. And I ask myself and other people, is it loving,
You're gone now. You want to come back, John? That's fine. You're middle of this something. I think the time expired, and there it is. Maybe he wants to come back. Yeah, go on, John. I think the time was expiring. So.
Yeah. No, I was just talking about my own personal growth and development, and how hard it's been at some points, and that, I feel like, a lot of lessons have come.
Yeah.
And I'm a better person for it. And but it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It takes community. It takes a community for me of loving souls, and that's really what I've needed.
Yeah. The ancient cultures I was talking about, they talked about the role of these are there. They're like there for us to develop the inner strength to overcome this. Without that, we won't have that capacity. So some of the difficulties come if you view them like this is an opportunity for me to grow, and they become significant. So when I explored the ancient wisdom, they were more about human intelligence, human capacity, human understanding, human really inquisitiveness and curiousness and all that. So basically, they were saying is, don't give everything to the tools or technology and other people and all that. Everything you take it for yourself. Sit down and reflect on it. Sit down and think about it. But then bring it that we are all in one energy, one consciousness, and then operate from there. Then everything becomes equal, and it is much easier to handle your mind and your body. I think they have touched something very, very significant, but then later on we divided ourselves with a lot of isms, a lot of religions, and all that. But if you look at the message, ultimately we are only one village, we are all in one energy. Even physics is saying this now. So I think these others, and we have to confront them, all that is a, I think, misguided thing. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think anything that's punitive and anything that's shaming and anything that talks about, some punishment, it's off the mark. I do feel like there's an important message about living a life of integrity and doing things that operate in love and in everybody winning, because I've never seen anybody who doesn't come up against it if eventually that, like their misdeeds catch up with them. And I know for myself, I've worked hard to move away from things that, not move away is not the right. Take responsibility where I was wrong, or take responsibility where I did harm. And clean all that up.
Yeah, what they talked about was virtue is order. Not that you want to measure up something and all that, but just being in truth, in love, in kind of accepting people and forgiving people and all that. That itself is the order. That itself is the virtue. So if you are doing anything that is harming people or doing something negative to them, you're out of the order. You're out of the virtue. So you don't have to measure up to a particular thing, but you can be just to evaluate what you are doing is in order, that is maintaining the universal order, or maintaining that virtue that it represents. Then you don't have to follow any particular religion, particular people. You can be assess, is this inherently right? Is this inherently correct I'm doing? And that kind of virtue you can develop that, then living this very high moral life is itself is very, very fulfilling for us. See, people think
I mean, it's the only way to roll.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's the only way to live. Then you don't have your conscience questioning you. That is the order I'm talking about. So don't do it good for somebody else. Do it because it is inherently good. Not like we want to do it, we want to reward, I want to appreciate it. No, just do it because it is inherently good. There is a term I learned, John, when I was a kid: duty for the sake of duty. Not duty for the sake of money, duty for the sake of recognition or praise, anything, but duty for the sake of duty.
Yeah. So is that? Say more about that.
Yeah.
Like when you say duty for the sake of duty.
Yeah.
For me, I think about opportunities to be of service.
Exactly.
The biggest joy I get, and I feel like I'm in line with my purpose when I'm making a difference for others, or I'm being loving, and I'm just listening, and I'm present for somebody else, and I ask questions, and take the next right action. Do all this stuff. I think that's what gives me a meaningful life, and I think that's what gives everybody pretty much a meaningful life. We're operating from self, and we're just doing things to acquire more resources, or have a big screen TV, or something else that you think's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
You're digging in an empty well, I would say.
Exactly. It's all about what you do for others that counts, basically. But the thing is, we may have some instinctual things, we may have some survival things and all that. But after that, we kind of want to share, or we want to really contribute to the life as a whole. That is the thing with the moderns is they are not contributing to the order of life as a whole, right? For example, Earth is there, and we are not thinking about preserving the Earth for the future generations, or really reverence to the Earth itself, but we want to consume everything that is around and making more problems of pollution because we consume a lot, right? So instead, consumption, how about giving? That's where this duty for the sake of duty comes, where they also call this like a type of yoga of action. Whatever you act, if you act because you are not hoping for the results for yourself, but the results can be anybody. But your work is excellence, you want to do it, but you don't want to be selfishly attached to the results of the work. you know that's a big deal because Western cultures developed a profit orientation and also
Yeah,
egotistical orientation. Whereas if you look at the
sure.
Eastern culture, they lost it too, but then at the time they had was you once your ego check it, it may not be the real you. And then why do you have to have these profits to be enjoying anything? Giving is more enjoyable than taking it. That's what you're talking about. The survey says looking for the needs of others for my own. That kind of attitude, once you discover giving, you have so much so much happiness within that, you will not leave that. You will start giving, you will be servicing. That's what I talk about servant leadership for the corporate heads. How, why can't you develop this spirit of giving to somebody else's needs and thereby leading them? Lots of them found that attitude itself once in a while is itself is really cultivating this inner peace and happiness for them. And you are saying you want to do it all the time because you got used to the taste of giving, catering to somebody else's needs rather than your needs, because you are already fulfilled, you're already full with your cup. Why do you have to ask for somebody else? Then you give. That is the what I mean thing I'm talking about all the time. You have the abundance, and once you touch it, you experience it, then somebody don't have to give you happiness, somebody don't have to give you peace. You have that, you have the joy, you have the peace, and then you're happy to go and help anybody. That's what I do. I don't have to come on these rooms and talk anything like that, but I don't charge anything for anybody for that. But then I kind of share number of truths that as I learn them, as I see them, in my life, I share them. That's a lot of people find value in them, so I come and do that.
Well, on behalf of humanity, I'd like to thank you
No, we are all in.
for coming on and doing that. You know,
Yeah,
we're all in this together,
yeah,
and I think
exactly, exactly.
part of what you're saying too is in the physical world,
Yeah,
you know, people acquire things and they want to keep them.
yeah,
And in the spiritual world, if you want to keep something, you have to give it away. You know, it's the opposite.
exactly.
And when you
This,
give away,
yeah,
you know, your experience, strength, and hope, or what you've learned, or you've listened,
yeah,
it makes more room for more wisdom to show up
yeah.
inside of you. You know, like
See,
you
even
just
this, even this,
create. It's like creating space
yeah, it
for
is,
a
it
new
is,
conversation to show up, or
yeah,
a new
yeah,
piece of knowledge that necessarily isn't transmitted through language, and it's part of the evolving. And I think when one of us grows, we all grow.
exactly. See, the thing is, the simple living itself implies you are not depending on things to give you happiness.
Yeah,
And
that's folly.
higher thinking
That
is,
doesn't work.
yeah, higher thinking is where you say, okay, I'm thinking about these things. Do they really give you lasting happiness or fulfillment? Then you will see Wall Street or Hollywood. There are two extremes of the country. Both have the accumulation of these things, and they are not. They are after the pleasure. They are not happy. They are not fulfilled. But once you go inward and find you that abundant self, then you are fulfilled.
And you're also in the physical world. You're going to lose everything.
Yeah,
All that you
exactly.
thought was so important, all the focus of your life to acquire,
Yeah,
the fame, the house, the beautiful woman, or the handsome, successful, rich guy.
exactly.
You know, it's just all so fleeting, this experience, you know?
One of the
You know,
things.
I think we graduate and we move on to the next great adventure, and we leave the way we came.
Exactly. That is the
All
thing they
that
said.
that
If
you
you
made
go
so
off,
important is
yeah, if
just,
you go after these external things, because they're temporary, you can lose them because your attachment to them makes you misery. But if you really go after anything that is not fulfilling, that's the problem. That's why you, minimum things you enjoy, and that's okay. But then beyond that, don't get to this. kind of once you go in there, you'll go deeper and deeper and deeper. So don't go in there, just do and then give the fruits to somebody else. That is where the duty for duty comes. You just do duty because you want to do that, but you don't want to expect anything in return. Then it becomes more like a thing that you are going to get used to it. When you don't have it, you feel miserable.
Yeah, and whatever's supposed to come your way comes your way in the form of resources, and and it says somewhere in the Bible, it would be easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it would be for a rich man to inherit the kingdom, and I take that to believe that if you have, and I've worked with a lot of these. I've worked with, and I'm around a lot of people who have extreme wealth and extreme properties and extreme things, and it just complicates everything. In this crumbling experience we're having, everything needs maintenance, everything needs repair, everything needs, and it takes you away from the simplicity of just sitting in the shade of a tree or at the edge of a lake. And that
John, I'm talking about that.
About, many years lost in the woods, one day great exuberance at the end of the lake, It's really about coming to this place where you're in the, all of this spiritual practice and all the conversations we have and what we do is just to be present and take this splendor and the beauty in that we're surrounded by and be grateful.
Exactly. That is the beauty of being a human being. We can appreciate that. You see, I'm talking about the kingdom of heaven that Christ talked about. That is within us. That abundance, once you touch it, then outward life is very, very simple. And then what did Christ say? He did not accumulate all this technology. He spread the love, he spread the understanding, and you shared everything, right? That's what I'm saying we should come back to.
Yeah, and hang out with they called it the least of these.
Yeah,
those were his people.
Exactly.
He wasn't hanging out with the people with the money and the power, and I think he really knew the game, and he tried to share it with everybody.
He led to the kingdom of heaven. Yeah, people forget about it, but he really talking about kingdom of heaven. That is.
Hey, doctor, I'm not going to come back on, but it was so nice to talk to you. I wish you all the best tonight. I don't know. I hope this app brings in people who shine light into the darkness and are part of the solution. Love to you, brother. All the best to everybody.
Thanks, John. Thanks for coming up. So that was John. I do remember talking to him a couple of times, and he was also the apps have a lot of new people, but I recognize John talking to him a couple of days ago, a couple of times in the past. Okay. So anyway, that simple living and higher thinking is something that we could always think about and go deeper into what it represents and see whether you have a simple life outwardly. That means basically you don't have many things that you have to worry about. You own many things that you have to worry about, and you're closer to the nature because you are natural, you are not artificial, and then you are not going after pleasure or money or things like that. But you inwardly you are aware of what is going on in the world. You're thinking about it. You are trying to spread goodwill and cheer and sharing kindness, compassion, things like that. So thinking about deeper questions of life, deeper aspects of life, that's where you get the rich higher thinking. Not because you are able to solve a complicated mathematical problem or technology or any of that. These are all giving you conveniences outward and then making you much more complicated externally because you're hanging on to too many things. So think about that, and hopefully that made lots of sense to you. I will see you back again tomorrow. Thank you.